What's up guys, and welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be a labor, delivery, and postpartum Q&A. So I have some questions that I asked on Instagram that people wanted to know. So I'm going to be answering them, basically telling my experience. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and we're going to get right into it. Alright, so question number 1 is, why did I get induced and when was it? So I got induced at 36 weeks. So around, I believe it was like 32 or 33 weeks, I began like getting very itchy on my hands and like my ankles and sometimes like my arms. And at first I thought it was just because the weather's changing. Sometimes that happens, so I kept putting on lotion and nothing would help. So at my appointment, I brought it up to my doctor. And he was like, all right, I'm going to test you for this rare condition. It's not common, but it's called Cholestasis of Pregnancy. And it's basically where your liver can't like produce the bile acid, and it's from your estrogen, which is a hormone that's raised in pregnancy. So a couple days later, he actually reached out to me and told me that I did have it. So I had to go back in the office. He prescribed me medicine to kind of like help with the itching, but he was like, it's not 100% gonna kick in. So he did tell me that because I have that condition that I would need to get induced between either 36 or 37 weeks. So I ended up starting to see him twice a week instead of just the once, just to monitor the baby and make sure everything was good, which it was. So around, I think it was 35 weeks, I had my last appointment. I was just about to turn 36 weeks, maybe a few days, and I was still itchy. It wasn't helping. So he scheduled me for induction on October 4th. So question number 2 is, how did they start the induction? So when we first got there, we kind of checked in, everything, did that. So I got into the room. Immediately they put an IV in my hand and started me on this medicine called, I don't know if I'm gonna say it right, but it's like misoprostol, and that basically starts contractions. So I was not in any type of labor at all, so they had to start it from the very beginning. So they started the contractions, and they just let me chill for a few hours. They were monitoring me. So that was at like 1 p.m. we got there. I ended up getting that medicine around like 2 or 2:30. So by like 5:30 that night, they had to do this thing which is called a balloon Foley, and it's a little procedure. So I went and had that done. The night that I had the balloon Foley in, and that is actually to dilate you. Yeah, so start like dilation. So the other medicine, misoprostol, was actually making me contract way too much and close together. Like I was having really strong contractions when I wasn't even dilated anything yet. So they ended up having to stop giving me that, which made the process longer, and had to give me morphine for the pain. So that was not comfortable. But then the balloon Foley ended up getting taken out the next morning, and that's when I was 3 centimeters. The second part on how they started induction was, after I was 3 centimeters, they took me up to the labor and delivery room and started me on Pitocin. So basically that also induces labor. So I was just on the Pitocin, and they were just monitoring my contractions and monitoring the baby's heart rate at that time. So question number 3 is, what do contractions feel like? So for me, they felt like very like cramps times 100. Like very tight, and I would say it gets tight like in your lower stomach and then in your back as well, and it's just really tight, and then it just stops, and then again it'll happen like a minute or 2. But as you get closer, the contractions get closer together, so you have like this little break of no pain, and then it starts again. So for question number 4, did I get an epidural? So yes, I did get an epidural. At the time so the doctor actually came in, and I believe I was like 5 centimeters at the time that she came in, and they were like, okay, it's time to break your water. And the previous nurse have told me, make sure to get the epidural before they break your water, just so it prevents you from feeling it. So I wasn't even experiencing like pain like crazy that I needed the epidural, but I got it because of the before they broke my water. So my experience with the epidural was pretty good. I'm good with needles as it is, so it could be different for people who are not as good with needles. So they made Pat and my mom get out of the room because it's a sterile procedure. So there was 2 nurses, the actual doctor who did it, and then like his assistant. So it was like 4 doctors and then me. So basically they had me sitting down, they were explaining it to me. They had me like slouch over like that. The nurses were talking to me, and he was saying, I'm gonna clean you 3 times, then I'm gonna do the numbing needle, which obviously numbs it, and it feels like a little pinch. So I was like, okay. So he did that, and it didn't hurt me, it just felt like a bee sting, like he said. And then he showed me the epidural needle, and I was like, oh wow. But he ended up putting it in, and I just felt a little pressure. It wasn't nothing crazy, so that was good. And about maybe, I would say 20 minutes after the epidural is when I started going numb at my feet. So question number 5 was, how long was I in labor for? So like I said, I got, they started induction around like 2:30 on October 4th, which was that Monday, and I didn't have her till Wednesday at 3:33 a.m. So it was pretty long. Number 6 was, how long did I push for? So it was around like 12:30. The doctors kind of came in abrupt, and they were like, okay, we're gonna check you to see what I'm dilated to. So he did, and then he was like, okay, it's time, we're ready. And this is after hours and hours of just waiting and just like thinking I wasn't even gonna have her at that time. So he left, he came back real quick, and he basically told my mom and Pat to get ready, and it was time. So that was around, yeah, like 12:30, and I had her at 3:33. So pushed for a good like 3 hours, which it felt so long. I was already so tired because I was already there for 3 days, 2 days, and wasn't sleeping good, so I was literally exhausted. So that wasn't the best. Question number 7 was, how was it pushing? So if you don't know, you push every time you have a contraction. So I had the epidural, so I couldn't actually feel the contraction. So the nurse was literally looking at like the monitors and stuff, and she would say, okay, come on. So Pat would actually grab one leg, my mom had my other leg, because I couldn't feel it at all. And she would just tell me to push, and she was playing games with me. We were playing tug of war. She had like this bar. She had all these different things to make me do it, and then she ended up giving me a mirror at the end too, to give me a little motivation, which that really helped. Question number 8 was, how many people were in the room total? So basically the entire time I was pushing, it was just Pat, my mom, and that one nurse. And then basically when it got to the point where she was about to be born, the nurse said, all right, we're gonna do one more push, and then I'm gonna call the doctor in, and then she's gonna be here. So when the doctor, we pushed one more time, and then she called them in. So then it was the main doctor who actually delivered her, and the nurse that was been in there, Pat, my mom, and then one other nurse that was like mainly there for the baby. So she took care of her as soon as she came out. So total of us was 6 of us total. So question number, I can't put this finger down, it's weird, but question number 9. What did they do as soon as she was born? So the second she was born, I heard her crying, I started crying, and they had Pat go over there and actually cut the umbilical cord, and then they basically put her right on my chest. We did skin to skin, which they do now, for an hour before she even gets weighed or anything. So yeah, she was just lying on my chest and we were just lying there until the hour and a half was up. So question 10 was, did I need stitches? And I didn't, thank God. Even the nurse standing there was saying, like, you're young, it's your first baby, you're probably gonna need stitches. But I didn't, so I'm very thankful for that, because that would have probably made my recovery a lot harder. Question 11 was, did Pat pass out? No, he didn't. He actually did really good with like seeing everything, because as soon as she came out, I know all the fluid came out along with her, and he saw all of it and was fine. There was probably a lot of blood. I wasn't really paying attention to it because I was preoccupied looking at her, talking to the doctors, everything. So yeah, he did really good. Question number 12, I believe. What was the worst part of the entire experience? So I would say the worst part was like the first day when they gave me the misoprostol, and like I said earlier, my contractions were too close together. That, and then right after I had her, they were pushing on my stomach for my uterus to contract again, and they were pushing so hard that the next day I legit had bruises on my stomach. And I feel like that was the absolute worst part, was them pushing on it. I was so uncomfortable when they were doing that. That was worse than any of the contractions I felt. Question 13, was it as hard as I thought? So in my head, when I was picturing my labor, I was picturing to start the contractions at home and obviously not get induced. That's what everyone thinks. But I feel like it was easier than what I expected for me at least. Yeah, the epidural really, I guess, played a part in that. But like, even, I don't think I got the epidural until I was like past 5 centimeters. And like I said, I didn't even feel like I actually needed the epidural yet. So I wonder how like far along I would have went before I like actually said, okay, I need it. But yeah, it was pretty easier than what I thought. So that was actually good. My pain tolerance is pretty high. So yeah. Okay, so question number 14. When did you go to the mom and baby unit? So I went there around, I believe, 7 a.m. on Wednesday. So about 4 hours after I had her. Yeah, and we stayed there for the rest of the stay. Question 15 was, when did we leave the hospital? So we left the hospital on Friday, October 8th. So we were there from Monday to Friday. It was a very long stay. It felt like forever. And because normally they let you go 24 hours after you have her, but because she was born at 36 weeks, we needed to stay for the full 48 hours after she was born just to monitor her. And thankfully everything was good. So number 16 is now on to like the postpartum half. So did I experience postpartum depression? I did not. I'm so thankful for that, because I've heard so many things about people like getting it really bad, and that's terrible. Yeah, I don't wish that upon anybody, but I am so thankful and blessed that I did not experience that at all. And 17 was, how was it the day after she was born? So we were still in the hospital the day after, obviously. I was a little sore, tired mostly, but the nurses helped me out a whole lot, and all the postpartum essentials that I had did come in handy a lot. And the hospital provided a bunch, so that was very good. I loved using that stuff. It made it a lot easier. So question number 18 now was, how long did it take me to recover? So right now I'm actually only 4 weeks and 3 days postpartum since I had her. So technically I'm not fully recovered. My doctor considers 6 weeks to be like the mark, but some people can not recover like until 8 weeks, or it depends on woman's body is different. But personally, I feel like I'm pretty much fully recovered. I'm not in any pain at all. I haven't been basically since maybe 2 days after. So that's really good. Emotionally, I feel good as well. I can lift things now. Nothing really hurts me. As far as my body, obviously I am still losing the pregnancy weight. That doesn't go. It takes you 9 months to gain. It's not gonna go away super soon, but praying for that to happen kind of quick, which I'm sure it will. But yeah, so I would consider myself basically almost fully recovered. So for the very last question is, what was the best part of this entire experience? The best part was definitely the moment she was put on my chest. Like I said, I cried immediately. But the second they put her on my chest, I fell in love with her. And the other best part was definitely experiencing this whole pregnancy and labor and delivery with Pat by my side. I know a lot of women don't have that, so I'm very appreciative of that. It means a lot. But yes, this entire experience was definitely worth it. I would do it over 100 times if I had to for her. I love her so much. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. There's so much more questions I could answer about even my pregnancy journey, labor, delivery, postpartum, but I didn't want to make this video too long. So for part 2, give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to our channel. We have a lot more videos coming. And stay tuned for our next video.